Good morning and welcome to Activities for People Living at Home with Dementia. My name is Gail Snyder. I'm the Executive Director for Dementia Friendly Fort Worth, and we are proud to offer this program with funding from the Area Agency on Aging and United Way of Tarrant County. These programs are recorded and are made available for future use through a YouTube channel. And today with us is Peggy Spear from the Amon Carter Museum of American Art and the Artful Moments program. And our theme today is winter.
Well, hey, friends. Of course, we're doing winter, and it's supposed to be 77 degrees outside today. So,
yeah.
Best laid plans. I thought by now we'd be staying at least in the 60s.
Oh, no, this is Texas. Just wait a week.
Yeah, right. I know. Yeah, it's getting down to like the 30s at night. So, we'll just pretend it's evening here in Texas.
You know, they've always said if you don't like the weather, wait a minute.
Wait, yeah. There's an old, or it's not that old, I guess it came out in the 90s, movie with by Christopher Guest, and it's about this town in Missouri. And he jokes, he's the mayor of the town, and he says, you know, they say if you wait 7 minutes, the weather will change. But we're working as a town really hard to get it down to 6 minutes. So we always joke in my family, working hard to get that minute off. All right, so today we're doing winter, and I have we had so many winter pictures or images in our collection. So I'm going to show you a bunch, but we're really only going to talk deeply about 4 of them. So here we go. This first one, what do we see? This is by an artist named Seth Eastman. Can you guys tell me what you're looking at?
Well, we look like some American Indians.
Correct.
And according to the title, they're playing some sort of ball play.
Yes. They are playing the game.
Lacrosse.
Lacrosse, you got it, Dusty. And this is an earlier, not lacrosse like we know it today, but the earlier iterations of lacrosse. What time of year does it look to be?
Winter.
Winter.
Winter. The title is a dead giveaway. What makes you say it's winter?
Because the title
it's like they're in an iced up creek.
Yes, they're on a frozen river. What else tells you it's winter?
No leaves on the trees.
No leaves.
Everybody's wrapped up in a blanket.
Yes, so bundled.
Snow on the background, mountain in the background.
Yeah, that kind of dusted mound. And it's also got that gray cloud that kind of covers northern states in the winter. Does anyone know where St. Peter's River is?
No.
It's in Minnesota. Part of it's in Minnesota.
Okay.
Minnesota.
Known as the Minnesota River.
Minnesota.
And so the Dakota lived, and I'm pretty sure their reservation is still in North and South Dakota. So this was before reservations, or at the start of reservations, really. But yeah, so we see lacrosse. Does anyone know much about lacrosse?
No.
Modern day lacrosse is a pretty rough sport.
Yes.
It was even rougher back then.
You know what? Dusty's right. There was no padding, no helmet. They're playing with a rock, not a rubber ball. And
oh, wow.
Depending on where you are, where the tribes were playing, like the Iroquois would play till death sometimes, whereas it was more to settle a dispute. And then sometimes these games were pick-up lacrosse games just for the fun and sport of it. So I think here we're seeing more of the fun and sport of it, not the let's settle a dispute.
I don't see much blood.
No, you don't. You don't. And you see a bunch of onlookers, and it looks like it's kind of a rowdy event. It looks kind of fun.
Yeah.
And the lacrosse sticks then were made of, you can kind of tell. Do you know can you guess what they're made out of?
Willow.
Yeah, wood, different woods.
Yeah.
And they would make the netting out of maybe sometimes sinew from animals, or if they had traded with any Europeans, they would use some of maybe their fabric or threads. But today, now, they're aluminum, plastic, mesh.
Yeah.
I played lacrosse in college, and it's really big on the East Coast. Everybody plays. So a lot of children were started with a wooden stick. They still make wooden sticks that you can play with. And one side of it's mesh, and then it kind of canes around, and it's wood where that cane is. And then once you got really good at playing with the wooden stick, your stick skills were good enough, and then you often graduated to a plastic stick, so that you understood the technicality of the game, or the ball handling, before then you moved to an easier, what they thought was easier stick. So this was painted in 1848. This particular artist, his name, like I said, is Seth Eastman, and he was traveling with the government or with the military to document American Indian life west of the Mississippi, basically. So here he's staying at a U.S. base fort in Minnesota, and then got to kind of observe the Dakota life. And he loved going to see these lacrosse games. And so he tried to capture some of that excitement. And what are some of the things you can tell that people are really engaged in this game? Can you see any of the onlookers? What might be some tells that you can tell they're watching?
Are they gambling?
Oh, I wonder. I don't.
Yeah, they did.
I'm sure they did, but I don't know if we see anything in this painting that would suggest that they are at this moment, but you never know.
There's not many players in this picture.
Well,
That's not right.
I think that there's more players than you think. Some of these player things, some of these people look like they're on the sidelines cheering, but I think they're actually players.
Yeah, I'm wondering. It's almost like the bench.
Yeah.
Are people ready to tap in? Because so many players have sticks. But can you see which player has the ball?
One running in the middle.
One running, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think he does. And what it's called, the way he has his stick, it's called cradling. So he's mid-cradle, and when you cradle your stick, the faster you move the stick, the harder it is for that ball to be checked out. And so yeah, he seems like he's on the go. In modern day lacrosse, there are 12 players on each team on the field at one time. I think then it was that kind of people jumping in, people jumping out, and it wasn't a designated field. It kind of moved up and down the ice. So people would kind of move with the game and then move back down with the game.
So in lacrosse, did you have to, once you got the ball in your stick,
Mm-hmm.
you were only allowed to run a few feet before you had to throw it, or could you run all the way down the field?
You could run it all the way down the field.
Okay.
And then women's lacrosse is very different than men's lacrosse too, actually. So in men's lacrosse, I think it's actually only 9 players on the field, and women's it's 12.
This just came?
You could run in women's lacrosse. When the whistle blows, you can't move anymore. In men's lacrosse, you can keep moving and reset on the field. So I feel that's truer to what we're seeing. I mean, not that there was a referee or anyone with a whistle, but I think this game, it's they on the East Coast, everyone jokes it's the fastest game on 2 feet because it's constant motion, moving. And so you get a feel for that motion. You've got people's hair blowing. You've got some guy, it looks like he doesn't even have a stick. He's just running out. Other sticks on the ground. So that,
looks like there's broken sticks.
Yeah, right. That could be his stick. That could be his broken stick because we see it here, and then another what looks like to be the handle, the shaft. But so what are some winter sports that you guys, lacrosse isn't typically a winter sport nowadays, but what are some winter sports that you might have done in your past or enjoy watching now, especially during the Olympic season?
Ice skating.
Ice skating.
Yeah, ice skating.
Hockey.
Yeah.
Say that again. Was that Steve?
Hockey.
Oh, hockey's a good one.
I had some friends that their parents set up an ice skating rink in the backyard in the winter.
Oh, fun.
And then we play all sorts of things on it.
I was going to say, I bet that was the neighborhood house in the winter. Everybody
Yeah,
went to
bet.
that house.
Yeah.
My neighbor just sent over some cookies, so that's my next new favorite thing to do is eat the cookies that she sent me. They're lemon regatta cookies. She just left them at the front door as my husband was going out. So yay!
Oh, right. That is a winter sport,
Oh,
Christmas,
thank you,
holiday,
thank you.
cookies eating. We have, someone said figure skating.
Yeah.
We took figure skating lessons growing up. We loved figure skating in our house. But here we see, you can see at the bottom, but where are they figure skating?
On a pond.
On a pond.
Yes, in Central Park in
New
New
York.
New York.
Yeah, so you can see, just take a minute to look at some of the beautiful clothing.
I got to point out the name. They're on ice, right? So here's Wetmore and Atwater.
Yeah, yeah.
Gotta love it. You just gotta love it.
Great, I didn't even notice that. You're right.
Very good.
Ah, thank you, thank you. I love the dog.
What kind of, when you see a little dog, I was going to say, what kind of things, there's a lot of things happening. So what's jumping out at you?
Well, there's an older lady that's actually on a ice sled.
Yeah.
Being
Or-
pushed on an ice
yeah.
sled.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
There's a lady who fell that way back in the back.
Yeah.
If you go directly down from the flag, you'll see her.
And little kids up closer to the front.
In the middle, it looks like there's two guys just almost having a competition. Right in the very middle underneath the bridge.
Oh, right here.
Yeah.
Yeah, look at that fancy skate work. Inline backward skating. Woo! We've got a number of people falling down. We've got this man, who looks like he's about to cause an accident. And then,
Well, ice is slippery.
so this is, I'm sure you've all heard of Currier and Ives.
Yes.
Mhm.
This is a Currier and Ives print.
A favorite, yes.
Yeah, and this is a fun one. And so Charles Parsons was actually the artist who created this scene. But at the time, these were very popular in the 50s and the 60s, these prints. The company Currier and Ives couldn't keep up with the demand. So they would have these artists kind of on retainer, and they would have the artist create something, and then the artist would work with other draftsmen or painters to help mass produce these prints.
Mhm.
And so Charles was known to be apparently a very picky artist when it came to selecting other draftsmen to help mass produce these artworks. And so Atwater was one that he actually really enjoyed, or really he approved his quality of work to make sure it was accurately reflecting Parsons' design. So these are, Atwater was another New York-based draftsman as well.
So can I ask a question?
Please.
What does it mean, Lynn Wetmore Atwater after Charles Parsons?
So when you see after, Charles
Mhm.
Parsons was the original artist,
Okay.
and Atwater was doing it after Parsons' design.
Okay.
You'll see that a lot of times in print artworks.
I'm just going to say copied it.
Yeah, and then you'll often see, I didn't include the printer information, but the printer is also just as often just as noted with these types of things, because printing in and of itself is a real talent. So oftentimes the printer gets a kudos because it might not look as the way it does if it weren't printed the way it was.
Got a
Central-
quick question.
Yeah.
All right, go ahead. The wove,
Mhm.
watercolor, is that woven paper or wove?
Yeah,
paper?
it's how the paper is made. So it's a more absorbent
Okay.
paper.
Okay.
It's nicer, it's thicker, it's heavier.
Oh, yeah, I would, yeah. Oh, I'd love to see that one live.
Mhm.
Central Park looks very different than it
Yes.
is today.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
I know, and what's beautiful about these Currier and Ives prints is that they're called genre scenes, which means everyday scenes, and art historians call them genre scenes. We know so much about what the United States looked like in the 1850s and 60s because of these Currier and Ives prints. And
Mhm.
so, you never know, you might see this exact print pop up at an estate sale or, you know, in an old bookstore. The really cool thing is these courier knife prints are still affordable and pop up in different places all over the country. Some are, you know, of course, more are pricier than others, but it still has that availability that existed when it first was created. So we've got the skating pond, and none of you said, which this is my favorite, snowshoeing and hiking in the winter.
Yeah.
Are any of you snowshoers or Nordic skiers? So you can see, what do we see here?
A backpacker.
A backpacker. And then he's got, looks like, I can't tell if that's a rock or a person here.
That's a person
I think it's a person, yeah.
Person,
And then
that
another
looks
one.
like a person.
there. Yeah, because you never really want to hike alone in the wintertime.
No.
Mm-mm.
No, and we know that there's got to be one more person. And how do we know that?
Because you said so.
Because there's a third person, looks like a third person in the background there.
I like that, Paulette. We know there's a fourth person because there has to be someone taking the camera in
Picture.
the picture.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right.
Oh,
Sneaky. Yes, you
Sneaky.
can see it. We don't know. I don't know. It didn't assign any mountain range to this particular one, but you can see on this man's back, he's got snowshoes, old school snowshoes, and it looks like he's got some sort of, not snowshoe, but maybe like picks. You know, if you're in icier type of terrain, you might wear.
I think they're called crampons.
Is that what
Crampons,
they're
yeah.
called? Yeah, so and then what is he holding? Can you tell what's in his hand?
It's
Looks
an
like
ice pick.
Ice pick. Woof. You better be careful if you slip it with holding that. Jeez.
Mm-hmm.
So this is a fun, we have so many pictures like this in our collection of just kind of winter sport scenes. We had some downhill skiing ones that I didn't include, but downhill skiing is always such a fun winter sport. All right, so now we're totally shifting gears, but we're keeping it cold and in the snow. And we're looking at this painting by Charles Russell called Lost in a Snowstorm, We Are Friends. So can you guys tell me what you see here?
Cowboys and Indians.
Yes. Boiled down, that's what we're looking at, cowboys and Indians. You see the cowboys?
Yep.
I
Yeah.
like the birds.
That's so funny you say that, Paulette. I've never noticed those birds until just right now.
Oh,
Yeah, so you see the birds, and then we see a caravan of American Indians.
Mm-hmm.
Does it look like it's a calm winter day, or what kind of, I feel like this is a really sensory,
Probably a very windy, blizzardy.
windy.
Their tails are not straight down.
The man's scarf is blowing out.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
well, and look like all of their backs they're all looking almost the same direction. Except this one cowboy right here. All of them are looking like their backs are to the wind. I feel like you can hear that wind just whipping by them.
Mm-hmm.
And so Charles Russell, he, I'm sure if you're a Western art fanatic, then you know Charlie Russell, but he lived in Montana for a while. So another Montana. We don't know if this was painted in Montana, but he was very familiar with the winterscapes that greeted, if that's the word you want to use, people. But he was always, one of the things notable about his artwork is he always painted it from mostly painted it from the American Indian point of view.
Mhm.
So instead of us being with the cowboys, we feel like we're kind of in the band of American Indians, which was not common of that time to show a sympathetic lens towards an American Indian. So that's pretty cool that he would do that. And the title, Lost in a Snowstorm, We Are Friends, what is that indicating to you?
They're all lost.
They're lost. And why do you think they might be lost?
Well, because they're looks like they're coming in on convergent angles, maybe trying to get to the same place.
Right, that maybe it's a whiteout, because like we,
Yeah,
it looks very
yeah.
windy, you can't see maybe 10 feet
Yeah.
in front of you.
So it looks like the Indian in the front of the group is giving some kind of hand signals.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there seems to be some sort of communication between the two. We don't know what they're saying. We don't know what that sign is. But typically you see these cowboys and Indian scenes of people at odds. And here, this seems like a pretty peaceful scene because I think it seems like both parties are lost and both parties need help trying to orient themselves. So this snowstorm, you know, lost in a snowstorm, this is a scenario where we will be friends. We are not enemies.
Yeah.
And he
Adversity
does,
brings people together a lot of times.
Yeah.
yes, yes. You're totally right.
The birds are going to lead them to safety.
That's right.
It's a
Follow
good
the
omen.
eagles are
They're getting ready
coming.
to point at the birds, and then they're all going to follow the birds.
Well,
and
it's
be safe.
interesting there's birds out there because of the blizzard. Usually they don't fly in blizzard.
Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah.
Maybe they're the relatives of the birds from the Ark.
The birds from the
They're on
ark.
a life-saving mission to save these folks.
Yes.
That's right.
There's a biblical spin on this. I knew how to have been buried in there, and we just found it. I love it.
There you go.
And I think, you know, it might even be daytime just because you're seeing
Yeah.
red.
Yeah.
So, okay, now, again, we're shifting gears, but visually, the next image I'm going to show you has some similarities. So we're going to take a quick mental image of this, and we're going to shift.
Mm-hmm.
What do you see that might come off a little similar in terms of the visual depiction?
Looks like it's a kind of a white out, you know, snow on the ground everywhere.
Mhm. Yeah.
Looks like it's also a mixture of Native Americans and white people.
Dusty, you nailed that one. You're right.
What was that? Was that, what did you say, Dusty?
There's American Indian and white people in the
White
same
people,
image.
okay.
They seem to be walking the same direction. All of their backs are to the same.
Yeah.
But this is a totally different story. So we see the type, this is a photograph. Oh, but you know what? I'm going to jump back just because this is really cool. And I meant to show you this. So we're back, lost in a snowstorm. So I want to show you something. And if you're ever bored and looking for something to Google, let me switch screens real fast. Google offers a thing called, where is it? Google offer, can you see the painting, but in
Google Arts, yes.
okay, good. So on Google Arts, if you go to Google Arts and Culture, you can see artworks from all over the world. And so
Wow.
M. Carter has a presence. We have about 2,000 of images from our collection on Google Arts and Culture. And 38 of our artworks have Google Pixel, which is the ability to zoom in an insane amount to where you can see the level of detail of brushstroke. So this is one of these examples. Let me.
I'm going to have to leave, folks. I will see you tomorrow.
All right. See you later, Steve.
Bye.
Bye,
Have a good
Steve.
day.
Bye-bye.
Bye, Steve.
Oh, I like that zoom.
Yeah, and so not all of our artworks have it, but you can zoom in really, really close.
Now, where do we find this? Google Arts?
Google Arts and Culture. And museums across the world have artworks featured in their collection as well, where you can drag across, and you can, I mean, to the point where you can see detail of some of the oil paint cracking, you know?
Yeah. Well, I see a whole new dimension here because I see what I thought were decorative sashes on some of the Indians were actually bullets in a belt.
Oh, yeah, like here maybe, or here?
Yeah.
You know, they might actually be sashes. I think you might have been right. But then like this, no, you're right. That's bullets because then you see his gun, but in a sack. Yeah,
and he's got a rifle there.
Yeah, but with the beautiful, detailing the beautiful beadwork.
Yes, exactly.
And I'll tell you, when this artwork isn't on view right now, it's not up all the time. And even when it is, you can never get this close to any of the artworks to see some of these details. So this really is kind of a cool feature that you're able to do at home. All right, now we'll jump back to the PowerPoint. Yeah, so if ever you're bored, go on to Google Arts and Culture, and you can see different slideshows. You can see all sorts of things. All right, so here we're in Dakota. We're in North Dakota. The ball scene was in North Dakota. The Wasson snowstorm was probably somewhere in that region, if not the Dakota Indians, somewhere in that same neck of the woods. And here we're seeing the what we know are Standing Rock American Indians, and they're in North Dakota. And so this photographer, his name is Mitch Epstein. He's still photographing. He is based out of New York. Yeah, New York, and he might be in Chicago now. But anyway, this artwork is currently on view. And it's a large scale printed photo, inkjet print photograph. So when you see it, it's kind of striking that landscape really pulls you in to stand and feel like you're there.
That is an amazing photograph.
Yeah.
How big is this actual image?
And you know what? I don't have the dimensions with me right now, but I mean, I would like my wingspan.
What was that?
Like my wingspan, probably.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's pretty big. He does a lot of large print.
Well, yeah, I was going to say that's a very high quality print for an inkjet printer.
Yeah, and that's, we talked about printing with the ice figure skating scene. This is really good printers.
Yeah. For
large scale photographs are hard to come across. So it's, very expensive to print these large scale prints. And often a photographer who's working in this way will pair up with a printer who's done them proud, so to speak, and then they usually continue to work together. But this is, not to get into all the politics of it, but this is a peaceful protest that happened in 2018. Even they were walking from their reservation at Standing Rock to Bismarck. They were walking along a major highway that leads to the capital of North Dakota, Bismarck. And this man holding this cane with the different sashes on it, he's a medicine man from Standing Rock, the Standing Rock Nation. And so they're peacefully protesting to the government this was taken after Obama had shut down the running of the oil pipeline. And so right now, 2021, Obama ordered that it not be run or used until 2021 after several environmental research projects were conducted to see if this was actually going to impact or not the quality of the water. But it's more than just that for the natives on that land. It was the sacred grounds were being destroyed and sacred water sources were being destroyed as a result of putting in this pipeline. So this is something that I'm sure we'll see in the next year again coming up with, now that 2021 will be here, what happens now with the Standing Rock pipeline. And I'm sure you remember all of the news and seeing that in headlines.
Thank you for that. I had put that in my memory bank, but that makes a big impact.
Yeah, it fell off. I mean, there were a million other things this year that it fell off my radar too. And so these pictures are a really nice and timely reminder that this is probably going to be up in the news again. And this particular reservation has been very active in supporting renewable energy. So they're not opposed to having wind turbines on their land or solar. It's this really the destroying of the land for the pipeline that the fight has been over.
So Peggy, is the shepherd's hook he's carrying a traditional Indian, or is that modern?
No, that's medicine men typically had some sort of it's like a divination tapper or some sort of that type of tool that was, one, to help identify them, but two, help to harness and channel and use when being called upon. Okay. So it really is like a sacred, kind of like a scepter king. This really is kind of a sacred part of their garb.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, and that also changes from tribe to tribe as well. So
Sure.
how the Dakota might use that cane is or staff is very different than how a Paiute Indian might use it. So you know. And this is just one more fun one. There are actually two more fun ones. This is in Silverton, Colorado. Have any of you been in a snowstorm where it was like a tunnel?
Yeah,
You
I have.
Yeah.
Oh, it makes me feel claustrophobic.
Uh-huh.
And then we've got one more. This makes me like clench just looking at this.
I've seen this picture before.
Oh, have you really?
Yeah, I don't know where I saw it, but it looks familiar.
So this is in Rocky Mountain National Park, another Colorado snow pick. But yeah, I mean, could you imagine driving a car like that on just a black sheet of ice?
I know.
That's
especially in the-
fan.
Yeah.
I think that might
Was
be
it
it.
1965? Then this picture was taken somewhere in there. Wow.
Yeah, I think it was like a number. Some of these pictures might have been, or maybe I typed it wrong. But there's like a stash of pictures we have in our collection where I don't know if it's been assigned a date or it might be older film. You know, like it was developed after the fact, so we might not know when the picture was actually taken. That kind of thing.
It looks like a 30s or 40s car.
Yeah, it does.
For sure.
So the legend on the picture says Trail Ridge Road in
Mhm.
Rocky Mountain National Park.
Yeah.
That is at the top of the mountain line of the Rocky Mountains mountain line there.
Oh, really?
Yes. Trail Ridge is how you get. I forget where it goes between, but we've been on that road. Not when it was that snowy, but we've been on that road.
And I bet you. I mean, it's probably snowing most days of the year, or
Yeah.
starting in October to May.
Yeah.
I'm sure you can hit it on a snowy day.
Yeah. But
Yeah,
not so
now
like
we've
that.
got salt, and you've got the plows and the whole bit, and oof, but yeah, and look how high that snow is. I mean, I
Yeah,
think you could
it's
reach up and
it's
your
at
arms
least
still wouldn't.
8 or 10 feet tall.
Yeah, because it looks taller than the car, doesn't it?
Yeah.
One time when I was a kid, we lived in Oklahoma, and we lived where most everything was wheat fields. We got a really bad snowstorm, and we had been visiting my grandparents in Arkansas, and we came home, and there was a car buried in the road in the snow.
Oh my God.
And the road was impassable, and so we had to get out of the car and carry only what we absolutely had to take and walk probably 1/2 to 3/4 of a mile through the fields, because the snow in the road was deeper than the snow on the fields. And
Wow.
walk to our house.
Oh my goodness.
For whatever reason, I had on sandals. And I remember getting back to the house, and my mom and my grandma used warm water and warm rags and buckets of warm water to get my feet thawed out, and they were really worried that I was going to have frostbite.
Wow.
Wow.
I was gonna say, did all of your toes stay after that trek?
Yep, I still have all of them.
Wow.
Oh my goodness.
But that my feet were so cold. It was absolutely miserable.
It's painful.
So Gail, you
Yes.
have literally walked up and down the mountain to get to your house in snow 10 feet
but
tall, right?
It wasn't mountainous. It was maybe a little bit, hilly, but it was wheat field, so everything.
I meant to say uphill. Uphill is what I meant to say. Yeah.
But the road was lower than the fields,
Yeah.
and the snow drifted and filled up the road.
Oh, yeah.
And so then when we went back several days later to try to see if we could get the car, the stuff, like, I think one of my sisters had perfume in her face, and it had frozen.
Yeah.
Oh,
Wow.
you know what? Oh God.
With
Okay, I was thinking
alcohol
like,
in it.
Yeah, that reminds me of a story when my parents drove me out to Pikes Peak, and all I could talk about, we lived in St. Louis, They drive me to Pikes Peak so I can see mountains, and all I can talk about is how beautiful the wheat fields in Kansas are.
Yeah, I know. You told that story before. I love that story.
I know. It seemed to fit in this. I don't know.
It's
So
perfect.
I
I
wish
lived in Kansas for 5 years, and that's exactly right.
That's
I
what
lived in
art is.
Colorado for a long time, and driving back east, because that drive, you hit Kansas, and it was just 7 hours of coming from the Rockies to flat. It was like, oh
Yeah.
my goodness,
Yeah.
I need some sort of hill, throw a hill in here. Now it's all wind turbines. There's so many hours of wind turbines in Kansas.
Yeah.
All right, well, those are our wintry scenes for today. Next week, I looked ahead, Gail, so you don't have to check. Next week, it's portraits. So we're going to be looking at different pictures we have of people in our collection. So,
Yay.
all right, friends.
Do you have any Christmas themed portraits?
That's what I'm trying to find out. I found a really good one of George Washington made out of a snowman.
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
thinking that might make it next week. But yeah, I'm gonna look. So I will bring my Christmassiest portraits that I can find.
Thank you, Peggy.
Thank you,
Peggy.
Peggy,
Be
for
good.
a great
I'll talk to you
suggestion.
soon.
All right, see you next week.
Bye.
Bye. Great
Bye.
job. Great job. You always do.
Oh,
Yep.
thanks, love. Bye.
Wonderful.
All right. Well, I have some news, some of it good, some of it might be a little bit disappointing. First of all, the good news is Martha has graciously agreed to host our program on Christmas Eve and Christmas Day at our normal time.
Okay.
And tomorrow we had talked about being in the kitchen again, but I actually have to go get some dental work done tomorrow, not Friday. It got moved.
Oh, okay.
And so we're going to change up tomorrow. And I thought we might talk about, hold on just a second. Let me get my screen shared.
Will you be here or do you need me to host?
I will be here. I just won't have time to be in the kitchen because I have to be at the dentist at 12:45.
Oh,
Gotcha.
okay.
Okay.
So let's talk holiday traditions. What we do, and I'd like to hear, especially from Martha, about your traditions.
Okay.
Um,
I'll get you started.
so I want everybody to be prepared to talk about your family traditions around the holidays of whatever you celebrate this time of year.
Awesome.
And so we'll just have a holiday chat session, and we
Oh,
will
yeah.
make Divinity next Thursday.
Okay. Thank you.
We'll take it.
Okay. I've had a pretty busy week, and the only way I could accomplish it is if I made it all ahead tonight, and I just don't think I'm going to get that done.
Okay. Well, thank you for,
We're so flexible. We're just grateful to have you, Gail.
that's right. That's
I'm
exactly right.
grateful to be here.
Good deal.
She does such a super job with us.
Okay. All right. Bye, Nancy. See you tomorrow.
Bye, Nancy.